Man, you won't believe the absolute insanity that went down at the airport today. So there I am, just minding my own business, waiting for my flight at gate 17, right? Got my headphones on, vibing to some tunes, and suddenly this woman storms in like she owns the place. She's got that classic Karen look, you know? Let me speak to the manager haircut and everything. And she's dragging this massive carry on that's probably bigger than my first apartment. I'm thinking, lady, did you pack your whole house in there? So I'm lounging in one of those uncomfortable airport chairs, and it's the usual drill. People jostling around, kids screaming, but hey, it's the airport. Suddenly, Karen eyeballs the seat next to me. Now, there are plenty of empty seats around, but nope, she wants the one next to me. She shoves her bag in the overhead bin like she's playing a game of airport Tetris and then plops herself down next to me. I shoot her a half smile, trying to be polite and all. But Karen, oh man, she was on a whole different level of entitlement. She starts extending her seat back like she's about to recline into a nap, and I'm like, hold up, lady, there's a person here. My legs are practically sandwiched between her seat and mine. I politely tap her on the shoulder and say, excuse me, mind not crushing my legs? And here comes the moment of glory. Karen gives me this look like I'm the one who just insulted her whole family. She huffs and puffs and then, without any warning, grabs her coffee and throws it right in my face. I'm standing there, soaked in hot coffee, feeling like a character in a bad sitcom. The whole airport goes silent for a second, and I swear I heard someone gasp. The audacity of this woman, I tell you. But here's the plot twist. A couple of security guards, or as I like to call them, the airport heroes, witness the whole thing. They come rushing over, and Karen's face goes from entitled to horrified real quick. The guards look at me, dripping coffee like a drowned rat, and then at Karen, who's trying to conjure up some fake tears. One of them says, "Ma'am, you're going to have to come with us." And just like that, Karen is escorted away, probably to the airport detention center or wherever they stash people like her. The whole ordeal was surreal. I felt like I was in one of those viral videos you see on the internet, but this was my life, and my dignity was soaked in lukewarm coffee. Now, I've had my fair share of encounters with entitled people, but this one takes the cake. I mean, who throws coffee at someone over a damn seat on a plane? It's like the world has gone mad. As the guards lead her away, Karen is still trying to argue her case, saying something about how I was rude to her first. I'm just standing there, shaking my head, wondering if she's living in the same reality as the rest of us. The best part, though, is when the guards tell her she might face charges for assault. Assault over a seat on a plane. I'm not a legal expert, but even I know that's not going to end well for her. Anyway, after the whole debacle, the airport staff was surprisingly nice about it. They offered me a new shirt from one of the gift shops and upgraded my seat to first class on the next available flight. I guess the universe decided to balance things out a bit. As I'm sitting there in my comfy new seat, sipping on some complimentary champagne, I can't help but think about how absurd the whole situation was. I mean, who would thought that a casual day at the airport would turn into a headline? Worthy story. So, morale of the story. If you ever find yourself at an airport, keep an eye out for flying coffee cups and entitled Corinne. And maybe, just maybe, consider investing in a poncho for that extra layer of protection. You never know when you might become the star of an impromptu airport drama. For some context, since last year, I've been sick. At first, we thought I'd need surgery. However, the doctor wanted to check something out first and sent me to another doctor. After a couple months of testing, this was the last one needed. I also had messed up my leg during this time, and it made it extremely hard to walk on my own. My doctor had suggested I buy a cane, which I did. Another thing about me, while I'm an adult, I have extreme baby face syndrome. People have thought I'm an 8th grader while I'm a freshman in college. My height of 5 foot doesn't help that either. Now, with context, let's get to the story. I'm sitting in the doctor's office waiting for me to get called back. The doctor's office was absolutely packed, so it took a while for me to get called back. After 5 minutes of waiting, a 7-year-old boy and a mom walks in and checks in. Both sit down in front of me, and I don't really think anything of it. I move my cane more towards me in order to avoid them tripping and look at the TV as I wait. After a couple of minutes, I hear a small voice speak. "Hey, excuse me." I look down from the TV and see the little boy across from me looking at me. Me. "Yes? Can I help you?" "Nice boy. How come you have a cane?" The mother looks up from her phone and looks at me, then him. EM, don't ask people those questions. Me, oh, it's okay. I don't mind people asking. I had an injury and the cane helps me walk. Nice boy. Does it hurt when you walk? Me, sometimes, but the cane helps. I know kids tend to be naturally curious, so I didn't take the boy's comment as rude. After he asked, we started talking about how our days were going, our age, and eventually got talking about birds. This kid was an absolute encyclopedia about birds and told me a lot of facts about birds. One of my favorites he told me is that a toucan's skin is actually more translucent, which is crazy. Nice boy. NB, notice my necklace, which is a metal raven, and said, wow, I like your necklace. Is it a raven or crow skull? Me, it's a raven skull. You know a lot about birds. That's really awesome. NB, yeah, I really like. EM, cutting into NB talking, excuse me. I looked at her. She had this look of pure hatred and disgust. Me, yes? Is there something wrong? EM, why are you wearing a skull around your neck? That's kind of inappropriate, don't you think? Me, no, it's just a metal raven skull. Nothing inappropriate about it. EM, it's kind of satanic, isn't it? Me, what? Her saying that blew me out of the water. In what world is wearing something like a metal bird skull satanic? Mom, it's just a necklace. It's nice. I liked it. I bought it. EM, you really need to take it off. You're going to corrupt my son. We're Christian. Looking over to NB, he looked as dumbfounded as I was. NB, Mama, it's just a necklace. EM, be quiet. To me, you need to take that off right now and give it to me. Also, you look too young to be using a cane. You're just wanting attention. Me, taking none of her nonsense. Ma'am, I'm not giving you my necklace or my cane. And if anything, you're the one wanting attention and ignorant for thinking that just because my necklace has a bird skull on it is satanic. Also for thinking young people can't have a cane just because they're young. Young people use things such as canes and walkers all the time. EM, how dare you talk back to me? At this point, she got up and tried to grab my cane and necklace. I was ready to push her back, but the security guard who was coming inside for some water stepped in between EM and me. Security guard, ma'am, I'm going to need you to sit down and leave this person alone. EM, what? No, they're satanic. I'm trying to free them from Satan. Security guard, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. No, this kind of behavior isn't tolerated here. EM, but my son has an appointment. I can't leave him here. SG, can you call his father? If not, you will have to reschedule. NB, my dad's in the car. At that point, SG escorted EM out of the building and NB's dad came in to watch his son. NB's dad apologized profusely for his wife's behavior and stated that she was a little eccentric. After 10 more minutes, I was called back and said goodbye to NB. After my appointment, NB and his dad were gone and I went on my way. Something that I think is funny, however, is what NB's dad had said regarding EM. I don't even know why she said that it was satanic. She's not even Christian. She's an atheist. I don't know if this story should be put under this community, but she was very passive-aggressive and thrived in making students uncomfortable, so I'll put it here. This happened last year. I'm a college student and normally, I have a good relationship with teachers. I always try to stay polite, respectful, and mind my own business. This teacher was so passive-aggressive, and when a student failed to answer a question, she asked to the class. She loved ridiculing them for it out loud in front of the whole class. I had class with this teacher. Let's call her Maria, on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays were a theory class in which she'd be talking for 1 hour and a half, and we had to take notes. Thursdays were practice classes in which we'd work on a group project that lasted the whole semester. I usually try to pay attention and take notes as much as possible. If I get less than a 7 out of 10 on an exam or on a project, I don't start crying my eyes out, but I do feel a bit disappointed on myself and like I could have done better. Enough rambling. One week, I had some personal problems that made me really upset, to the point of not being able to sleep well and having nausea, but having to force myself to eat lunch because I knew my body needed sustenance. The problem that made me so upset happened at Tuesday night, so I slept like crap and felt like a zombie on Wednesday. I wanted to stay home because of how awful I felt, but my mom told me to go to class so I could try to distract my mind. Just as I had thought, I barely took any notes. I tried to take as many as possible, but my head just wasn't in the game that day. One of my friends noticed something was wrong, and after explaining to him what happened, he comforted me and tried to cheer me up. Fast forward to Thursday. It's the practice day. Me and my friends were working on the project, and the teacher kept walking through the class from team to team to see how they were doing or answer any questions they may have. There was one moment in which we didn't understand something, so we decided to ask the teacher. We were 4 people in the group. Nobody wanted to ask her because of how intimidated they felt towards her. That's how uncomfortable and nervous we were. So eventually, I decided to be the one to ask her the question. The conversation went as it follows. May: Hey, Maria, me and my teammates were just confused about this part because it's basically impossible to present the results of our investigation for next Monday when we've just started, so what do you mean by that? She laughed as if it was the funniest thing she had ever heard, making me even more nervous than before. Maria: Okay, let me see. Were you at class yesterday? She then acts as if she were thinking about it with a finger under her chin and looking up at the ceiling. Oh yeah, you were, because I remember I saw you. May: Maria: All right, I explained this yesterday since it's a question that the students give me every year. So now I'll ask you this. When I was explaining that part, because I knew people would ask me about it, what were you doing? I was absolutely speechless. My friends too. And she laughed once again. Maria: All right, before I answer you though, I want you to take note and to write this somewhere. When the teacher is explaining something in class, besides taking notes, I mustn't be doing anything else. We were all flabbergasted. One of my friends was staring at her with a, "What the F did you just say?" look in her eyes, and she has a default resting witch face. So when Maria saw the look in her eyes, she laughed once more and said, "Don't look at me with a face, girl!" As soon as she answered the question and left, I turned to one of my friends with disbelief and said, "Oh, she's a mother effer," which made her burst out laughing. I felt so effing stupid and humiliated, and I wish I could turn back in time so I could have given her a piece of my mind. This teacher, in particular, kept repeating that you're adults, so you decide whether you come to class or not. Okay, that's understandable. But if we're enough of an adult to decide that, then don't treat us so condescendingly as if we were mere 4 years old. She eventually got nicer with our group, though, probably because of how she answered me that day, but it still makes me angry how she answered in such a rude manner when I was nothing but polite, respectful, and trying to do the effing project as best as possible. I, 23 female, love my nieces and nephews. 12 female, 13 female, 10 male, 12 male. But sometimes they can be really reckless, and when they are, they break things. Last school year, my niece, Nicole, 12 female, got a high honor roll every marking period. They were supposed to go on a trip right after the kids went on summer break, but it kept getting pushed back. School for them is starting in 3 weeks, so they want to go on the trip fast. Yesterday, my sister, Denise, 34 female, and brother-in-law asked if they could borrow my car. I have a 2020, one Lexus RX 350 that is big enough for all 6 of them. I told them no because the last 3 cars they had were trashed and wrecked by the kids, and they were going to come back in 2 weeks, and I have things planned with my friends. They told me that I was being a bad aunt by denying the kids of the trip and choosing my friends over them. They had planned everything already beforehand. I tried to compromise and pay half for a rental, but they declined. They sent me a video of the kids crying last night, and they are devastated. I don't know if I'm in the wrong, but I do feel horrible that I messed up a trip that the kids were waiting for the whole summer. And now, for some comments, not in the wrong. Your sister sucks. She's the one letting her kids down. How dare she pretend this is your fault? Do not lend them your car. Not in the wrong. I'm tired of toxic relatives blaming things that arise out of their own stinginess. They want a free vehicle and not pay any damages. I'd save that video and show it to the kids saying, "Yeah, your parents sent me this. Do you think this kind of thing is going to work on your boss or your future selves because this is only going to piss them off?" Not in the wrong. 1. They sent you a video of them crying. They want you to feel bad. That's why they send it to you. 2. Well, 10 kids don't usually cry over this. I mean, kids wouldn't cry just because they want to go with the exact same car that you have. They only want to go on a vacation. Car doesn't matter to them. They probably lied to them that their aunt won't give them the car, and that's why they can't go. 3. You even offered to pay, but they say no because they don't respect you. 4. You will be the one in the wrong if you give to them. Don't give them the car. My 28 male cousin Mary, 22 female, grew to be an extremely jealous person in her teens. We've all hoped she would grow out of it, but she hasn't. She refuses to address it. When I proposed to my husband Scene a couple years ago, Mary threw a fit. She wanted to be the first to get married between the two of us. She deserved it. She didn't even have a boyfriend. Because Scene and I chose to have a small personal wedding, we were able to use money set aside for us to buy a home and pay off half the mortgage. Cue another tantrum from Mary despite the fact that there is money set aside for her too, including from our grandparents and Aunt Miranda who chose not to have children. I think you can get the picture here. If I have something Mary doesn't, she wants it. If I accomplish something before her, it's not fair. It doesn't matter if she's younger than me by 6 years and I would naturally reach some goals before her. There's just no logic in her tantrums. This brings us to Miranda's annual New Year's party. There's always food, drinks, and games. It's a fun night where we can get wasted safely with family and friends if we want to, especially since there are no kids in the family at the moment. When I was returned from the bathroom, I saw Scene looking extremely uncomfortable and trying to fend off Mary, who was sitting much too close to him on the couch. I managed to overhear her telling him that women are much better than men and insisting he try with her because he didn't know what he was missing. Now, Scene is 100% gay, so this was just pathetic for her. But I was seeing red over the fact that she was attempting to ruin our marriage to satisfy her jealousy. I said, if women are so great, then date a woman instead of trying to get my gay husband to sleep with you. The entire room heard this. I didn't control my volume. Party ruined. The family has spared us from most of the chaos that followed, but today we found out that the money that was set aside for her is no longer for her. The tuition to pay for the remaining classes for her bachelor's degree has been refunded to our grandparents since spring classes haven't started yet. All the money from her parents is going to her younger brother, and all the money from our grandparents and Miranda is going to be distributed between him and myself. She's getting nothing. She's also been given 3 months to find a new place to live because her parents don't want her living under their roof. She was given a massive leg up just like I was, and she screwed herself out of it. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost, okay, I don't